movie review of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Now, this was a 2019 take remake of the classical King of Monsters movie. This movie had a lot of Easter eggs. Now, the movie opens up with them inside of a, courtroom, and basically they're discussing why Monarch failed to locate all the monsters, find the monsters, and eliminate the monsters. Hold on. Spoiler alert. I gotta say it again. Hold on. Spoiler alert. Hold on. If you ain't seen Godzilla, King of the Monsters, do not watch the movie review until seeing the movie. Spoiler alert. Let me say it again. Spoiler alert. We always got 2 or 3 people who try to watch the movie review first, and then they try to watch the movie afterwards, and then they get mad because you ruined the movie by telling the movie when it's called a movie review, because I actually saw the movie. Hold on. Spoiler alert. You've been warned one last time. Spoiler alert. Alright. Now, they did do some minor change-ups. Now, the movie gives you the impression that the father got divorced because the wife was obsessed of monsters and she didn't know how to stop after they lost their first child. And they immediately, in the movie, establish a timeline. It's been 5 years later since the events of Godzilla in 2014. So they're basically telling you the events of what happened to the last film. At the same time, you get this strong feeling that they're still trying to make this into a nice, soft reboot, which they pulled off nicely. I don't think anybody noticed that it was kind of like a soft reboot. Like, they weren't trying to ignore the events of the last film, but they try to make this more meaningful because the title is King of Monsters. Now, King Ghidorah, they explained that his alien origins is that he's from outer space. He was on Earth for a number of years, frozen in ice, and then the fact that the first fight that Godzilla had, he looked intimidating, he looked strong, but he got beat down so easily because he didn't have enough power and enough strength. And I'm pretty sure if you're a diehard Godzilla fan, you probably might be mad that they depowered him on purpose for a bigger reveal. Now, the fact that they explained Mothra's origins was perfect. I mean, the fact that they made it where it's girls from a 3rd generation family, and they tied in the old Godzilla films of Godzilla versus Mothra in these films. So that was a lot of Easter eggs. The Japanese girl admitted it that she came from a family that she already knew Mothra's origins from past Godzilla films. And that in the picture, she's a little girl all that time that, Mothra was fighting Godzilla in those films. So that was a nice throwback to the Easter egg. I also felt that when they had Godzilla get super powered, they also decided that right in the middle of him fighting for the second time, when Dr. Sarasara decided to kill himself with the oxygen destroyer, he blew himself up and basically woke Godzilla with too much radiation, which turned him into burning Godzilla. And if you know what burning Godzilla, aka supercharged Godzilla is, it's from the Godzilla films of the 1980s, early 90s. Godzilla versus the Destroyer is where he became burning Godzilla, where he's gonna melt down and take the whole planet with him. That was also a nice throwback to that transformation that Godzilla had in that film. Godzilla vs. the Destroyer is a movie that came out in around 1991, 1992. Now, the classical fight between Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, it is a nice throwback to the movie Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. Now, the fact that they made this movie about good versus evil, man versus nature, man versus primal animal, was a good connection because it established the father was going to have a relationship with Godzilla. Godzilla looking at them like, had you not gotten my way, I would have stopped the monster in the first place. And the mother justifying the acts of man is good and evil, and that the monsters would bring the earth back into balance. Now, considering the fact that we got to see Easter eggs of Skull Island, you saw pictures of it, they referenced it Then you saw the ancient writings on the wall that Godzilla and Kong would fight. And then the fact that they brought the tribute to the actor who played Godzilla in the movie King of Monsters is beautiful, classic. And the fact that they did the original score of Godzilla's theme song when you know you're about to see someone get their you-know-what whooped, perfect for Godzilla. You know, to give him his original theme song so it can feel like it's the old Godzilla from that time period. And the fact that the British commander were taking samples of all the monsters for his purpose, the end credit indicates he's going to bring back King Ghidorah and make clones of him to fight Godzilla because he's hell-bent on world destruction. He's basically, if Dragon Ball Z was real, he'd be the perfect actor to play Dr. Gero. I mean, the way he does it, you get the feeling he isn't just a military soldier, he's a scientist. And basically, he wants to rid the world of Godzilla and take over the world himself. So it's basically teasing you're gonna see another movie. And there's plenty of Easter eggs in this movie. And you might have to watch this movie 2 or 3 times just so you can see all the Easter eggs that this movie hinted at. The fact that he had a transformation, within the transformation, kind of hinted at Godzilla, Shin Godzilla, because that's where they got that from, Shin Godzilla, which came out 1.5 years ago, where he had transformations in the movie, and they kind of done that with this film. And the fact that he still looked menacing and intimidating at the end, and they gave him his classical original roar. If you look at the 2014 Godzilla film, he sounds exactly how he sounded in the beginning of the film, but then towards the end of the film, he sounds more like a classical Godzilla ready to fight. You know, so I give this movie an 8 out of 10, and I'll tell you why. To me, the one thing that I don't like when they do these types of films is they make their actors the stars of the movie. The movie is called Godzilla, King of Monsters for a reason. And trying to make the actors more important than the movie of Godzilla is where Godzilla fans get very angry and upset. So in the next film, I would want them to have it where it's more about him and less about the actors. Now, I know they try to establish this new group of actors and characters in this film, but it's like, it's called Godzilla, King of the Monsters. See, people who are Godzilla fans can tell right away who the movie's really for. And I get an 8 out of 10 just because of that. Now, yeah, you might have took some things from past films, but still. Now, it was in tribute to the first guy that played Godzilla in 1954, but you have to understand something. The movie still was about Godzilla and his origins. And this displayed his origins, and it showed that all the other monsters know who the Alpha is, but I want to see more of that in the next film. I want to see how the other monsters act and obey his commands and what they do in his presence, good and bad. You know, there's a story you can take and use for that. And now the question is, if they actually do it, I can't wait for the next film. It gets an 8 out of 10. Until then, peace.